Welcome back to the Michigan Business Beat, brought to you on the Michigan Business Network. Chris Holman here, coming to you from our studios at the Capital Region International Airport. And we're going to stay in the area right now. We're going to talk to John Sellek with the Michigan Smart Trade Alliance here in Lansing, Michigan. Let's start with this, John. The Michigan Smart Trade Alliance. What is it? Because it just came into existence in December.
Yeah, that's right. Obviously, tariffs have been on the radar screen of all Michigan businesses throughout the year 2025. As we were moving through that year, we just kept hearing a lot of discussions behind the scenes saying, how can we talk in a calm, sensible fashion? How can we avoid politics, if that's possible, while we talk about what's so important to Michigan's economy and all our job creators, not only to hold what we have, but to build and expand upon what we have. And tariffs are clearly having an impact. So we worked to put together the starts of essentially what we would call a discussion group and a public education group. So there's a quiet, easy, calm way in a bipartisan fashion or nonpartisan, ideally, to talk about tariffs. So we created the Michigan Smart Trade Alliance, and you can visit us at our website at smarttradealliance.com. We're concerned about making sure that we've got markets for us to send our goods that we're manufacturing and growing in Michigan. We want to make sure we can get all the tourism folks from Canada and other places just to keep coming to Michigan, make sure we can afford the furniture and everything else that goes into our hotels, the food that comes into our restaurants. And we want to be able to impact costs because if there is a bigger issue out there, it's a top secret other than costs. And cost is most important, not only excuse me, to Michigan businesses, but obviously to our families. So that's why we are working on the Michigan Smart Trade Alliance. And right now, after we just kicked off to start the new year, we're coming on shows like yours. We're going to events and we're starting to explain to folks who we are and try to open the door for that discussion.
Well, there's no doubt about it. Business is being affected by tariffs, and we saw that on our latest Michigan Future Business Index, sponsored by Sinair. So, where do Michiganders stand on this? I understand there's been a number of polls, and certainly one done by your organization.
Yeah, absolutely. In keeping with the theme of nonpartisan slash bipartisan, we hired two national pollsters, one who works primarily with Democrats and one works primarily with Republicans. And they were able to work together and poll Michigan residents late last year. And what we found is there's enough of this in the news that Michigan voters understand what tariffs are. They see it as a tax on the products that they buy and consume and that businesses have to use as inputs for their manufacturing process, et cetera, et cetera. And when we asked them who pays that tax, that tariff tax, in the end, they understood over 60% said, we do here in Michigan. And so they're concerned about that. And just like every other poll and story and headline that we see out there, costs, affordability, the number one issue on everyone's list right now. So when they're looking at the tariff issue, they understand that it's impacting the bottom line. Now, they also know it's a complicated issue and that some lines of business will benefit from a tariff, like even inside the agriculture world, we see a difference in the types of crops. If you're a specialty crop like cherries and there's another country that's dumping here to lower the price, you may be interested in tariffs. But by and large, businesses are impacted negatively by this. They're trying not to pass the cost along to consumers, but at some point that's going to come to an end, and they certainly are disruptive. And when we look at that discussion, I think what we hear a lot about, Chris, is they're looking for more consistency. And right now, we seem to be in a permanent trade war. You look at the headlines today, and there's more. And there's almost no point in talking about each individual one, whether it's a tariff on or off Italian pasta or on or off French wine, or on or off any other topic. It just keeps moving. The targets keep moving, and you know better than anybody, and your listeners do. You can't plan ahead for that. And all the industries we talk about, like autos, general manufacturing, tourism, and agriculture, planning is everything to success.
I'm still trying to put together the tariff on Europe over Greenland, but hey, that's for another discussion, right? Okay, so what are you guys actually going to focus on? We know you do a wide variety of things. What are you going to actually put your nose to the grindstone on?
Number one thing that we want to do, and the excitement that we have found when we have reached out on our initial round of calls to all of our local chambers of commerce, our business advocacy organizations, is that, wow, there's finally going to be somebody who will lead some kind of discussion on this that will make a platform or a space for us to calmly and quietly doing this. None of these business owners want to be tools of any politician. And that's one of the more upsetting things is that it just becomes a Republican Democrat fight. And that doesn't help anybody. It doesn't help us. It doesn't help our business people. It certainly doesn't help consumers and family budgets in Michigan. So the first thing that we're doing is visiting chambers of commerce and events all around the state. We're going to be at the Detroit Policy Conference that the Detroit Chamber puts on later this month. We're going to be at the Lansing Chamber Gala that's coming up. We're all over the place seeking to pull together those groups to come together. We just announced today that the Midland Business Alliance is a group now that has joined along with us to share with their members the ability to now have these kind of conversations. So we'll be seeking to get more attention and public discussion about it, but in that nonpartisan way, because we know, Chris, a lot of our business owners that will talk about this, they voted for Donald Trump. They support President Trump in so many ways. They just need to be heard more on this issue.
Well, there's a lot to be learned from this. 15 seconds. Do we really understand as Michigan citizens what's going on? In literally 15 seconds.
Yeah, I think our polling showed that citizens do know about it. They're paying attention. It's hard to escape the news, the headlines. We have a bunch today. Again, like you just talked about, they understand what it is. They want Michigan's economy to be better. They want manufacturing to return, but they need to affect costs and they need jobs to be in existence in markets for the products that we already produce now. So they're concerned about the chaotic nature of it. They want to be able to calm it down.
John Sellek, spokesman for the Michigan Smart Trade Alliance. Keep up the good work because there's more education to do on this. Thanks for being with us. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Chris.
You're watching the Michigan Business Beat on the Michigan Business Network. I'm Chris Holman. We'll be back.